Welcome to History in Motion for our second visit to Kyalami for round one of the Midas Historic Tour. In this episode, we'll be catching up with action from the Pre-66 legends, Little Giants, Pre-84 Sports and GTs, Lotus Challenge, and the Endurance Race. History in Motion is proudly brought to you by Midas Sport, Gumtree, Mitsubishi Electric, and our associated sponsors. Where can you push harder? Where should you back off? Know your limits as Mike Schmidt talks you through turn 3 and 4 at Kyalami.
Yes, here we are standing at the exit of turn number 3 at Kyalami, and this is without a doubt the most difficult section to negotiate in the first lap of the race. The real trick to getting this combination of corners right is to make sure you get through turn number 3 at Kyalami with the right amount of speed. There's a real tendency to get into this corner faster than you need to because it's just a shallow kink. But what waits for you is turn number 4. And as you exit through turn number 3, the car is now moving its way to the right-hand side of the racetrack. You're doing well in excess of 200 kilometers an hour, and you're going to have to slow down, make a gear change, and turn very sharp left. So this section, these two corners, are effectively taken as one long sweeping turn. And when you enter turn 3, you best keep in mind that turn 4 waits for you, because if you don't, there's a big accident waiting for you on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Turn 4 is a classic 90-degree turn with a little twist. The approach to turn 4 is slightly uphill, which means the driver is going to be a little bit more confident coming up here on the brakes. The problem here really is, as you get to the apex, which is the middle of that concrete section there, the track levels off. So all the grip you've had coming up here, all the confidence you got, suddenly goes away as the track levels off and the car wants to start moving very quickly over towards the right-hand side of the racetrack. There's a nice bit of concrete curb on the exit there, which is invisible to you at this point. But once you know it's there, you can get on the power really nice and hard and use it. If you make a mistake, only two things can happen. One, the run down to Sunset is going to be affected and you're going to get down there a little bit slower. Secondly, that red fire extinguisher sitting on the outside is going to become your best friend. You really need to be very careful on the exit of this turn.
From Alphas to Mustangs, the SKF Pre-66 Legend production cars and Little Giants have it all.
She's a 62 Giulietta, originally from Cape Town, so she was a little slow at first. We had to bring her up to speed, but we've done a lot of work on her and just get her right and put a bit of time and effort into such an old car and something different from the normal Julias and the Juniors that we used to see. So we're just having a lot of fun with it. Farmer Shop, thanks for the sponsorship, thanks for the car. Today, also a big field, massive amount of Alphas, which is good to see. Hopefully we'll draw some of the other cars as well, the Minis, the Cortinas, all of those sort of cars. But it's really, really great racing with the guys and we're having lots of fun.
It's going to be an interesting day, a big field, so we're going to be having a lot of fun today.
A bit worried. Kyalami is not the easiest track and competing against the sun, so it's a bit concerned. Although my car is faster, but he's faster on a track with a slower car.
They're 1965 Alfa Julias. As you can see, they are identical in color. 2-liter engines.
Mine's got slightly a bit more power than his, but he's a bit faster than me on the track.
Do you prepare your cars together and work on them together at home?
Up to a point, yes, yeah, we do.
There's technical secrets that we don't share. We put up a wall in between the two cars. No, just kidding. Yes, the cars are prepared together, yeah.
Franco SCHMIDT heads up the grid in his Ford Mustang, followed by Jonathan du Toit in his Chev Nova. Patrick Gearing will be fending off the Alphas of Mark Miller and Trevor TUCK, while Roger Houston, starting 11th, trades in his MG for an Alfa Giulia. SCHMIDT leads the field around turn 14 and onto the start-finish straight. Jonathan du Toit in the number 65 Chevy Nova will be keen to keep the pressure on as the lights go out and racing begins. The V8 Thunder charges down into turn 1. Franco SCHMIDT leads the way, followed by Jonathan du Toit. Du Toit was originally going to be running the Bel Air, but decided instead to run the Chevy Nova, which is always a competitive car in this field. Mark du Toit lines in third in the Chev Chevelle Smoky Unique, with a gaggle of Alphas behind him. Colin Ellison in his Giulia Sprint heads the chasing Alpha pack. Into Sunset, and Jonathan du Toit has managed to find a way past Franco SCHMIDT's Mustang on the back straight. Du Toit now leads the way to Clubhouse on this opening lap. Roy Prondo just overtaking Colin Ellison into 4th place as the pair enter Clubhouse. The Nova and the Mustang thunder across the line to complete lap 1. On board now with Jaco TAYLOR as he makes his way to turn 14. Someone has spun off and ended up stopped in the middle of the track. Not good news, I'm afraid. It's car number 227, Francesco Lombardi, who I imagine hit the wall coming out of the turn 13 sweep and has ended up across the track. The safety car's been brought out while the marshals clear the track and mop up the oil. The green flag waves and we're racing again. Du Toit is wide awake at the restart and powers away from the orange Mustang of SCHMIDT. The Chevelle just behind the pair with Prondo and the Alpha doing his best to stick with the big V8s. Du Toit ahead of SCHMIDT heading up to turn 3. SCHMIDT hanging on the bumper of Du Toit and he won't be letting him get away. The Mustang's very quick and nimble through the corners. Trevor TUCK has his Giulietta out for the first time and he's just ahead of Mark Miller in his Giulia. The pair of them chasing down Patrick Gearing in his grey Alfa Giulia. TUCK really applying the pressure to Gearing as they head around the Nashua bends. Jaco TAYLOR in his GT Junior getting passed by the yellow Giulia of John Simpson as the pair head round turn 2. Up at the top and Franco SCHMIDT has just gone down the inside of Du Toit and moves into the lead of this race. Du Toit stays close as they head down the mine shaft. Jaco TAYLOR fights back in his little Alpha and retakes the position John Simpson took off him just now. A trio of Alphas chasing down the MGB of Martin van der Merwe. It's now Miller ahead of Gearing and Trevor TUCK looks to be slowing behind them. Perhaps some problems with his car there. Mark Miller leads Patrick Gearing in their battle for 6th position. Gearing getting a little bit out of shape as they head down the mine shaft. Roy Prondo, meanwhile, has pulled up alongside Mark Du Toit and is challenging him for 3rd place. Into the bowl, Prondo has the advantage through the corner and manages to come out ahead. Up the hill on the Chevelle, puts the power down and comes back at the Giulia. Into turn 13 and Du Toit has the inside line. Prondo tries to come back, but it doesn't work this time. Down the hill to the final corner, Prondo is later on the brakes and has the inside line. He pulls alongside the big Chevelle and the two of them run down the straight. Robin Clark in his MG Magnet beached on the outside of turn 4. Jaco TAYLOR Sr. and his GT Junior getting passed by Franco SCHMIDT as they make their way out of the S's. Du Toit flies past and is Nova as well. Jaco TAYLOR on the back straight looks to have the run on Carlos Gamiero Jr. as he makes his pass stick and heads into sunset. Clive Winterstein in his Porsche 356A will soon have the 3rd place battle between Mark Du Toit and Roy Prondo bearing down on him as they go through the bowl side by side. This time Prondo has the inside line. Du Toit puts the power down and moves ahead up the hill. Round turn 13, Winterstein stays wide, giving them space. Du Toit leads Prondo to turn 14. Prondo's going to try another late braking maneuver on the inside line of turn 14. He's not able to make it work this time. The checkered flag is out, and it's the battle for 3rd, charging down to the finish. Du Toit managing to finish just over a second ahead of Prondo on the line. Franco SCHMIDT taking the win by just over a second from Jonathan Du Toit. Roy Prondo, the first of the Alphas home, followed by Colin Ellison. Patrick Gearing managed to keep Mark Miller behind him, and Andy Gossman in his Datsun Sunny rounds out the top 10. Jaco TAYLOR in 11th was the first of the Little Giants.
The car went very, very well. I think just after the safety car, I got quite a good start, and then I could feel she wasn't happy going up the top of West Bank. Not called West Bank anymore, but we still call it West Bank. I felt her getting a bit tight at turn 1. She was getting worse. I thought, let me just call it a day. I'll freshen her up. She's been like that since the 90s, so we haven't really done much. We've made her a bit quicker, but the engine we haven't really changed. But we'll make it better for the next one.
You know, they say 10 seconds on the track is better than 10 years on the stand. So we race off fine. I got the most beautiful car, but I'm slow, but I'm good looking.
We started when we were youngsters. My dad always brought us to Kyalami, and one day we just went onto the internet, Gumtree actually, saw a car, bought one, then big argument who's driving it, and then 1 went to 2, and then we had to get the old man involved, and now 3, and I just want to get his wife involved as well, so hopefully next year we'll have 4 on the track.
I raced with the GT Step Nose, the GT Junior Step Nose, and then later when I finish the GT AM, I'll probably race that one too.
Mine is the also a step nose, nice blue one, good looking one. Not that fast, but very nice, because you know they don't allow me to drive a fast car. They said I'm too old to drive a fast car. So they said there's 71, you can't go that fast.
I'm also on the GT Junior Step now, so it's fun because all of us same class, same day on the track, so we really enjoy it.
Race 2 of the SKF Pre 66 Legend Production Cars and Little Giants is about to get underway at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit. The lights go off and away they go. The red dart of Ishmael Beloy shoots past Jaco TAYLOR and heads after Roger Houston. Up at the front, and SCHMIDT hasn't got the best of starts and has been swamped by the Tutoy brothers as they storm past him into the lead. It's Mark Tutoy in the Chevelle who is ahead of Jonathan in the Nova. The Mustang hasn't let them get away though. Roy Prondo in his Giant Killer is charging hard, trying to hold onto SCHMIDT's bumper as they head through Nashua. Gearing and Miller resuming their battle from race 1. Jaco TAYLOR chasing down the dart of Beloy and the Datsun of Gossaman as they make their way onto the back straight. The rest of the field streaming through turn 4, making their way cleanly through the first few corners of race 2. A few of the guys offline, but they will sort that out as the race develops. Back with the leaders, and Mark Tutoy is being hounded by brother Jonathan, and Franco SCHMIDT is right behind the pair. Patrick Gearing and Mark Miller nose to tail up to Clubhouse. Behind them, Larry Davies and Roger Houston. Up at the top of the track, and John Simpson in his yellow Alfa Romeo Giulia runs side by side with Shane Bartman in his Alfa Romeo GT Junior. Simpson moving ahead and alongside Jacques Bartman as they head down the mine shaft. Shane Bartman fights back though. Andy Gossaman in the short back Datsun Sunny of his. Awesome little car with a rich racing history. Up at the top of the track, and SCHMIDT is past Jonathan Tutoy, and running down the inside of the Chevelle, he makes his way to the front. Jonathan and Mark running side by side, but it's Jonathan who will lead the pair down the mine shaft. Jaco TAYLOR Sr. in his Alpha GT Junior makes his way up the hill to the turn 13 sweep. He's holding off the Porsche 356A of Clive Winterstein. TAYLOR leads the pair down to turn 14. They really are having a great battle a little bit down the order. Car number 3, that's Shane Bartman spinning in the S's. He should be able to rejoin the race though. Mark Miller in hot pursuit of Patrick Gearing. There's been nothing between these two all weekend. Larry Davies, Roger Houston. Houston breaks late and makes a dive down the inside. Great move, and this puts him alongside Davies. Davies running a bit wide as they climb up to turn 13. Houston has the inside line, and with Davies running wide, he manages to keep the advantage. Josh Dovey in his Austin Healey Sprite is ahead of Les McLeod in his white MGB, with Jacques Bartman just behind the pair. The Healey and the MGB are involved in a great tussle. Franco SCHMIDT beginning to come up on some back markers now as he makes his way through the field, passing Robin Clark in the MG Magnet. SCHMIDT looking very controlled at the moment, just going about the business of leading this race. Gearing looking to find a way past Miller through turn 1. He's not quite close enough at the moment, but he's putting his nose in just to keep Miller's mirrors busy and full of the grey Alpha. Gearing's back end looking a bit twitchy still. Miller looking a lot more composed through that corner. Gearing comes back at him and hugs Miller's rear bumper once again as they go through turn 4. Houston and Davies side by side into turn 1. Davies goes round the outside. He must have got some good momentum coming out of the last corner onto the main straight, and he has made it work for him, carrying the speed all the way through turn 1 and 2. Into the final turn, and Franco SCHMIDT leads Jonathan Tutoy. SCHMIDT letting the back get a little sideways as he makes his way to the finish line and the checkered flag to take a double victory in the SKF Pre 66 Legend Production Cars. Jonathan Tutoy coming home in second place. Roger Houston and Larry Davies side by side. The pair locks up as they sprint towards the line. Davies runs a little wide. This is going to be a real run towards the flag. It looks like Davies just has enough to take the position and finish ahead of Roger Houston. It's been a fantastic battle between them. Confirmation of the results, Franco SCHMIDT finishing just over a second ahead of Jonathan du Toit. Larry Davies pipping Houston to the line by just under a second. Ishmael Beloy, the first of the Little Giants in 8th position, with Marco Taylor and Terence Boertes rounding out the top 10.
This is Roger's first time in a Julia, I think, and he did a fantastic job. Now that Mark's moved up a little bit ahead, at least I've got somebody to play with, and it was very clean and fair and exciting.
It was a great race. Julia's magnificent, but it's always good to chase the guy with the number one and see if you can keep him honest. He was quicker in certain parts, I was quicker in other parts, but he beat me fair and square. For the TV, we'll say that.
More to give, just more commitment, more courage, but the car's strong, so it's all the driver, always the driver.
I just got the car last week, a few things to do. Yes, yeah. And now on the car.
We were swapping positions, I think, every lap. Patrick had me at the end in the first race. I managed to get past him at the end of the second race. It was super close, though, lots of fun.
No, I made him work, but I think I had to work harder to try and keep up with him. First race was absolute blast. Did a ton of work to have to get past him eventually. In the second race, it was hammer and nail again, and he beat me fair and square. I think the overall is going to be quite interesting.
Join us after the break for some Porsche action here on the Midas Historic Tour.